Today we're going to talk about the major signs that you can tell that your ex is still in love with you. Now, I've done a lot of different variations of this video, but I figured I'd update it for 2023. So let's just jump right into it. Sign number one, your ex is going to find reasons to text you, and sometimes those reasons will be ridiculous. So I figured I'd start off by telling you a story. A couple of years ago, I was working with a client who found herself in a really difficult position. The ex broke up with her, the I love you, but I'm not in love with you, and she was just frantically trying to figure out how she can bridge the gap and recover this relationship. So I did what I always do. I recommended the value ladder and coming into the community and finding ways to hold yourself accountable and things of that nature, healing, be content without them. Strangely enough though, when my client was in the middle of the no contact rule, her birthday happened to fall in the middle of that no contact rule. And she received this text. Hey, I got a birthday present for Rocky. Now you may be wondering who Rocky is. Well, Rocky was none other than her pet, her dog. Her ex texts her on her birthday about buying a present, not for her birthday, but for her dog on her birthday. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? But here's the thing. We even noticed that exes who still seem to be in love with you or still seem to harbor feelings for you will find reasons to text you even if those reasons are ridiculous. Sign number two, your ex will start to invest more time into you. So if you've been an avid watcher of my YouTube channel, you'll probably have heard me talk about something called the interdependence theory. Basically, this theory posits that human beings commit to one another based on costs and benefits. We're always looking for the best deal. We're always looking for a relationship that we can get into that has more benefits than it has costs. But how do we measure those benefits and costs? Well, usually there are three specific criteria. Satisfaction, how satisfied you are in the relationship. Alternatives, is there a better alternative out there than the person that you're with? And finally, investment, how much time, money, energy, emotions have you spent investing into this one person? But when researchers were really trying to understand the interdependence theory, the one thing that kept coming up was they found that people who were in unhappy relationships who sat there and thought that they could find a better alternatives would still stay in the relationship. Now, why is that? Well, it's because they don't want their time invested into that potentially failing relationship to not be worth anything. So they will continue to stay in a relationship if they have invested into that person for a long period of time, even if they're unsatisfied and even if they feel like they could find someone else that's better. So here's the thing. We're going to flip it on its head. If you're dealing with an ex after a breakup, but they're investing a ton of time, energy, emotions, money into you, that's usually a very good sign. Sign number three, your ex may reach out to your friends or family. So when I was 19 years old, I went through my very first breakup, and I wouldn't exactly classify this breakup as amicable. It was my first breakup ever. I had never felt these kind of emotions before. I was devastated, even though I was the one to break up with her. I didn't have any outlet to talk to anyone about the emotions that I was feeling during the breakup. My best friend at the time was, quite frankly, tired of hearing me complain, and really I didn't feel comfortable with my family telling them like, oh yeah, I'm devastated by this breakup. So I did the one thing that you're not supposed to do. I contacted my ex's very best friend and spent 3 hours on the phone with her, basically vomiting my emotions up, of which that best friend then went and told my ex, and that's a whole different story. But here's the thing. When your ex and you go through a breakup and they're hurting very deeply and they don't feel they have a good outlet through friends, family, or even community, sometimes what you'll find they'll do is they will reach out to your friends and not necessarily talk about you, but talk about how they're feeling about the breakup, almost trying to get your friends on their side. This is generally a good sign because here's the one thing I didn't tell you about my personal story. At the time that I was doing this, that I was contacting her very best friend, I wanted my ex back very badly. I would have done anything to get her back, but I had a stubbornness, I had a pride. Rather than basically contacting her and saying, hey, I made a mistake, can we work this out? I kind of thought I would make her beg for me back because I was the one that broke up with her, which is kind of a ridiculous, warped way of thinking, but I'm sharing this story with you so that you can understand exes who break up with you have sometimes very ridiculous and warped way of thinking, and they'll use your friends to get an in with you. Sign number 4, your ex is buying gifts for you. Now, technically speaking, this sign is just a subset of sign number 2. It's a form of investment. If you find that your ex is buying gifts for you, that in a way is them investing into your relationship, albeit through a gift. So the main goal that we all want if we're going through this or considering getting an ex back is to have an ex ask for you back. So one of the potential ways that you can go about getting this level of commitment or getting them to ask is to slowly hint at the fact that you'd like this kind of gift and you'd like this kind of gifts. Give them a hint that you want this thing and then see if they'll go out and get that thing. And this is actually a concept that I tried out with one of my coaching clients. Once again, she was very close to getting him back, but she couldn't quite get the confirmation or that conversation started, so I suggested that she future pace gifts, which is kind of a weird concept, but bear with me here. There are different levels to gifts. Like, for example, you can get flowers. Flowers are considered a gift, but flowers are not going to mean the same thing as them booking you on a week-long cruise. That's a whole different thing. So here's the thing though, if you want to up your chances of getting an ex to get you a gift, assuming you're working your way up the value ladder and doing everything that we suggest, one of the best ways that you can do this is suggest or hint at the gift. Drop hints of liking flowers and maybe your ex will buy you some flowers. Drop hints of always wanting to go on a cruise. Maybe your ex will book a cruise or book a boat ride. Drop hints of really being interested in this museum exhibit. Maybe they'll get you tickets to go to the museum exhibit. You're trying to see if your hint is enough to spur them into action. And if it is, that's an incredible sign that they could still very much be in love with you. Sign number 5, your ex is going to act jealous. So I was on a coaching call with one of my coaching clients in the very first year that I started coaching clients, I think, which was around 2016. I'm dating myself, I'm old. But here's the thing, we were talking and then she mentioned this situation where she had gone out with a guy friend to a dinner and she had taken pictures of the food, but she accidentally left the guy's elbow in the frame. So when she posted it on Facebook, her ex immediately started blowing up her phone. Now, I think it goes without saying that this ex is very clearly jealous that she could be out on a date with someone else. Even though she wasn't out on a date, she was just going to have lunch with a friend and it was at this really nice restaurant that had a lot of really cool entrees, I guess. When I told this story to our community responded by basically manufacturing hundreds of these types of jealousy pictures. Pictures where, you know, you're out on a date with someone and the person's elbow is in the frame. Maybe you've gotten flowers, going to our previous sign, and you're taking pictures of the flowers, things of that nature. If your ex is having a negative response to that, I think it means that they definitely still have emotions or feelings towards you. Because remember, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Kind of responding to a jealousy post is not very indifferent. And our final sign. Sign number 6, your ex is going to exhibit any kind of unconscious signs of interest. So what are unconscious signs of interest? I define them as types of things that your ex is going to be doing that indicate they're interested in you without them being consciously aware of it. So here are some of the common examples. Number 1, your ex leaning towards you usually means they're attracted to you or attracted to what you're saying. Number 2, leaning away from you means they aren't as interested in you. Blushing a lot, talking about stories of the past, but most importantly, mirroring. If you lean in, they lean in. If you lean back, they lean back. These are all unconscious signs of interest that they're not aware that they're doing, but can give you some insight to the way that they're feeling about you. And this mirroring concept can even be applied to text messaging. If you respond with a one-word text message, they're going to respond with a one-word text message. If you respond with a 300-word text message, well, maybe they're not going to respond with 300 words, but you get the idea. They'll respond in a very intriguing and long way. These are all unconscious signs of interest and all things that you need to be paying attention to if you're trying to figure out if your ex is still in love with you.